Please guys, stop paying way too much for Pokemon singles cards when they first get released. Welcome back to the Chase Card Pokemon collectors and investors. Today, I want to look at when is the perfect time to look at purchasing your singles cards for your collection. Now this video is not specifically about making money off investments necessarily, although there is opportunities there in the single card market. It's more about when to buy the singles that you like at a good price rather than paying too much. Now there are the rare cases that when a Pokemon set first gets released that a single, a chase card could skyrocket in value and stay elevated. Very rare. 98% of the time, as you guys know, when a set gets released, a new Pokemon set, the top chase cards tend to do this, the singles cards tend to skyrocket, and then they go off a cliff. So we want to look at when is the perfect time or a really good time to buy your favorite single chase cards. I've got 10 examples here of cards that are right in the sweet spot. I think are probably a good time to pick them up if you like them. Let's get into it. Let's have a look what they are. Okay guys, so getting straight into it, the first card I want to look at, like I said, we've got 10 to look at that I think are at a really good price right now. The first one is this Charizard from Obsidian Flames. And before you roll your eyes and say Obsidian Flames is a crap set, the cards aren't worth very much, that's fine. I'm not going through what the most amazing sets are today. This is not a specifically a booster box video. But if you do like this Obsidian Flames Charizard, the price is pretty good. It's $45 now. This is the Obsidian Flames Special Illustration Charizard, right? Now, if we go back sort of 3 months ago, this card was $47, and it's still pretty much there at $45. 6 months ago, if we go back to right at the start of the year, the first week of January, this card was $60. And if we go back right to when it was released, back in, God, it's already been almost a year. July last year, this thing, like I say, with these singles cards, don't buy them straight out the gate. Like, it's just crazy. It's very rare they stay elevated. This thing was $225. Immediately crashed to under $100. Like, within days, crashed to under $100, more than half. And it's been going down ever since. So the reason I mention this card is, like I say, this video is not for investment purposes. This is really for the collectors out there. If you're looking to pick up this Obsidian Flames Charizard, this is the time to buy. Now, it doesn't, over the last 3 months, it looks like it's not going down a lot more than this. It seems to bottom out around that $42 mark. So if you pick it up at $45 and it goes to $40, you're probably not going to lose sleep, right? But this is a really good time to pick up that Obsidian Flames Charizard. And a good rule of thumb is, and this is not an exact science, you always got to watch the market where it's going with these singles cards, but a good rule of thumb is around 6 to 12 months from the time of release is usually when these cards are at their lowest or close to their lowest. And if you do like this and you want this for your collection, now is a great time to pick up this Obsidian Flames Charizard. Moving on, this Mew from Paldean Fates. This was a very popular card, and I would say still is a very, very popular chase card from Paldean Fates. So I believe it's the number 2 chase card in this set still, and it's $85, okay? This special illustration Mew from Paldean Fates, and Paldean Fates is quite a strong set. Now this card, again at the start of the year, was $133. I think this set's been out for around 6 months, 5 or 6 months, Paldean Fates. $133, right? Start of the year, went down to $74. It's now sitting at $85. Like I say, this Mew is a really, really popular chase card for collectors. If you love this card, I wouldn't necessarily be waiting too much longer to pick it up. You may be able to get it a few dollars cheaper, $5 or $10 cheaper if you keep an eye on it. But really good time to pick it up. I would say when these sets sell through, looking forward in sort of 12 months time, 18 months time, you'll find that a lot of these, especially these popular chase cards, they will go back to their all-time high, which here was 133, and they'll go way past it over a long enough time frame. So again, if you love this card, great time to pick it up. Now, here's the Gardevoir, also from Paldean Fates. And there's going to be a few Paldean Fates cards in this list, guys, because Paldean Fates is right in that sweet spot now. Like I say, it's been about 6 months, give or take. It's right in that sweet spot now, and it may stay there for a few more months. It might not be this week that you necessarily have to pick up these cards if you like them, but we're really around that bottom area. I don't think these are going to drop a lot more. I think they're really leveling out. So this is $49, this Gardevoir, right? Again, this had a high of $68 back at the start of the year when it first came out, and now it's down to $46. It's pretty much at its all-time low. $46 is about the lowest this card's been. Could it get lower? Yes, any of these could. But like I say, Paldean Fates is right in that sweet spot. So if there's any cards in Paldean Fates that you're looking to add to your collection, keep an eye on that set. If it's not any of these on that list, just go into Paldean Fates and check out the card prices, because it is right in that sweet spot. The next card, this Iron Valiant special illustration from Paradox Rift. Now this card was $54 at the start of the year, and now it's sitting at $35, almost $20 cheaper. It has hit a low of sort of $26 back in March, and $27 again a couple of weeks ago. And it's up $8 just in the last couple of weeks. But again, its all-time high at the start of the year was $54. I don't think it's been higher than this. Yeah, it had. Late last year was 71. Late last year it had an all-time high of 71. 35 now. It's literally half the price of its all-time high. Like I say, if you fast forward 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, once these sets start to sell through and the singles card market will start to take off, this is one of the better chase cards in the set. It's not the top chase card, obviously. But for $35, if you like this card, this is when you buy. It's funny because a lot of people, when a card sort of crashes, they back off. They're scared to touch it. They think it's going to crash forever. And then it starts to skyrocket, and then they have this FOMO and they start paying too much again. So you guys, sometimes you pay too much when it's released, and sometimes you pay too much, a year and a half later when you're worried about missing out. This is when you buy. 6 to 12 month window. That's it. That's the perfect time to buy. And this, like I say, this is not an investment video. This is picking up cards at a good price that you really love if you want to add them to your collection. This Morty's Conviction from Temporal Forces. Now this is a bit more of a recent set. But again, it's got that Gengar in it, this Morty's Conviction, which makes it a really popular card. $90 in April. We're in the second week of June now, almost mid-June. So this is, what are we going back? Less than 2 months. Less than 2 months, this card was $90, now sitting at $50. Almost half the price of what it was 2 months ago. Hit $42 a couple of weeks back, and it's up $8 in the last couple of weeks. But this is becoming a really popular card with that Gengar in it. I'm personally not a fan of Gengar. You might have noticed from my other videos, I really can't stand Gengar, but people love him. Don't get offended that I hate him. I don't hate him, but I'm just not a fan of Gengar. But again, $42. If you like this card, don't sit around waiting, guys. If you can afford to put a bit of money into your singles, and this is one that you've been looking to maybe add to your collection, you're not sure about whether or not it's a good time to buy, it's half the price almost of what it was at its all-time high. That's whenever a card's below half of its all-time high, it's a pretty good opportunity to buy it, guys. So that's the Morty's Conviction. Another one from Paldean Fates, the #1 chase card, that Charizard EX. Now this one actually went in a PSA 10 when it was fairly new. One of the first PSA 10s to get sold went for $850. I don't know who paid that much, but that's crazy. And the raw card had an all-time high back in January of $184. It's now sitting, this Charizard, at $114. At $114, guys, from $184. So it's dropped $70. Now I think this is a really good pickup. Charizard is usually a pretty good, card to have in your collection. There are a few examples where the Charizard didn't do very well out of sets, like the Darkness Ablaze Charizard was very easy to pull and not worth very much. But this is a different story. I think Paldean Fates is a really strong set. Not an amazing set, but it's a pretty strong set. And this is one of the better Charizards, this Dark Charizard from Paldean Fates. $114, $70 less than its all-time high. Again, I think if you look forward in 18 months, 2 years, if you've got this Charizard in your collection, I think it will be worth at least a few $100s. I think this will do quite well. And it's quite low right now, so really good pickup, guys. I I did do another video kind of, not exactly like this, but kind of similar, where I went through a couple months back, about 3 months back, where I went through every top number 1 chase card from every Sword and Shield set earlier this year. And I mentioned a lot of those cards were a really good price to pick up. And every single one of those cards, I think every single one of them, maybe the Vivid Voltage Charizard, the Vivid Voltage Pikachu, maybe I hadn't done as well. But most of those cards I mentioned since then have really skyrocketed. So anyone that paid attention to that video and picked up some of those cards, you would have done really well. And this is just kind of a similar video to that. Only difference being we're not going through all the number 1 chase cards. We're just going through 10 awesome cards that are really in that window of opportunity. So this is a really good card. I'll be adding it to my collection at some point very soon. And I think it's a really good price at 114. The Iron Leaves from Temporal Forces. Now these cards fall from glory. This had an all-time high. Let's just double check. Yeah, about $89. When it first came out a few months back, it was $90. It's now 40, 41. Less than half the price. And it had a low here a couple of weeks back of 37. Again, now 40, $41. So I think this is possibly leveled out. How long will it take to start climbing in value? I don't know. It could be a few months, it could be 6 months, it could be 12 months, but this is a really good price. All of these 10 cards are at good prices that I'm going to show you. That's why they made the list. So this is just a perfect example of when to buy, guys. Now this is a little bit surprising because Temporal Forces is a bit newer. So when I say 6 to 12 months after a set gets released is usually the sweet spot, this has only been a few months. And it's already crashed a lot. So I wouldn't hit the panic buttons if you like this card and you're keen to get it in your collection. I wouldn't hit the panic buttons. I don't know if it's necessarily turned the corner to start climbing yet, but just watch it. I would say if you bought it now, I don't think it's really going to crash too much more than that. And again, this is really for the collectors that just like the card and want it in their collection. This is not necessarily an investment strategy with these. Though you could probably make some money over a couple of years with these cards if you did want to. Now this is the Gouging Fire EX special illustration, also from Temporal Forces. This card is $40, $40. These are all US prices. Back at the start of April was $54. So it hasn't come off as much as some of the others, though it has dropped a fair bit. With this one, let's just look on the month. It's up slightly on the month. It's hard to say if this one's going to crash a lot more. It may go down a bit more. But again, really nice card. If you do like it, look at picking it up. If not now, in the next couple of months. Just keep an eye on it. It's $40 now. I'd say anything $40 or under is not a bad pickup. I mean, if you picked it up at 40 and it went to 30, would you lose sleep knowing that, you know, in a couple of years it's not, that $10 is not going to matter this way or that way? I think there's more upside than there is downside. This Iono from Palladium Fates also. This is a card I really like. I'm a bit of a fan of the Palladium Fates set. Actually, I wasn't initially, but I do like the Palladium Fates cards. Pardon me. This card's $29. I'm literally losing my voice here. Too much coffee. This card's $29, $42 back in April, and now down to $29. Again, this card could drop a bit more, and I have noticed with some of these trainer cards from Scarlet and Violet haven't performed as well as some of the other cards. They seem to be less popular. But I personally love this card. I love the Ionos from the Scarlet and Violet era. And at $29, like, that's a nothing burger. If you like this card, absolutely great time to pick it up. It may drop a bit more, so if you don't want to pick it up now, keep an eye on it. But it made the list because it has dropped in value, and it is quite a good pickup. And another one from Palladium Fates. Half of this list is Palladium Fates. And like I say, Palladium Fates has been out 6 months. It's in that perfect window of opportunity to pick up some of your favorites. $46 only about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. $46 this Pikachu Shiny Rare. Now sitting at 37. It did hit 34 a couple of weeks back, and now 37, so pretty much still there. Again, anything under $40, I think long term you're going to be okay. Having a shiny rare Pikachu, especially if you get it graded, I think this is a really good card to have in your collection. If you're a collector, if you're simply an investor and you don't really care about the singles, then this video is probably not for you. But if you like to collect as well as invest, this is a really good card for your collection, and it's not expensive. I think, again, if you look forward in 12 months, 18 months, this card's going to do really well. There are no guarantees. I don't make any big, bold predictions. That's why I really stress, you really just have to like the card. If you're doing this strictly for money with these singles, just stick to booster boxes and sealed product if it's only about the money. With these singles cards, it's really for your personal collection, the things you're passionate about, the cards you really like. That way, if it goes down $5 or $10, it's like, who cares? I love this card. And that's what this video is for, really for the collector. Now, there's 10 examples of cards that are right in that sweet spot, right in that window of opportunity, that are probably a good pickup, and over the long term will probably do well. Probably. Again, there's no guarantees. Now, I do want to show you 2 examples of absolutely what not to do. Okay? No matter how much hype you see on YouTube or anywhere else about this card's the next amazing card, you got to have it, this thing's going to the moon. Like, no matter how much if you really love it and you want to pay too much, go and pay too much. But if you really love the next 2 cards I'm going to show you, this is a perfect example of what not to do. This Greninja. I have mixed thoughts about this Greninja. One, it's a bloody beautiful looking card. The artwork is just, it's such a nice card. And this is really popular. People love this card. It's very busy. That's why I say I'm in 2 minds about it. It's a very busy card. Which I don't necessarily know if it needs to be that busy, but look, it is beautiful, lots of color, the artwork's really nice, even though it is very busy. $173. This set's literally about 2 weeks old, give or take. Now this thing has shot up from 111 to 173 straight out the gates. This is a perfect example of what not to buy, okay? Don't let FOMO overtake your rationale. This card will... I'm saying there's like a 99% chance this card will drop. As soon as more Twilight Masquerade gets opened and more of this gets pulled, like it's gonna, just more in circulation, this card is gonna drop in value. I'd be happy to look back in 3 or 4 months, review this card and show you that it's dropped in value. I would hazard a guess that this could go under $100 in the next 4 or 5 months. Under $100, and it's currently at $173. If you own this card, if you do own this card, unless you think the centering's perfect and it's going to get a 10, you want to get it graded. If the centering's not quite perfect, you don't think it would make a 10 if you got it graded, and you do own it, I would say sell it. My personal opinion is I would say sell it, because there's going to be opportunities to pick up this card at a much better price in the next few months. I am going to make the prediction that this card will drop to under $100 in the coming months. That's when you pick it up. Here's another card, and I really love this card from Twilight Masquerade. The Carmine. Don't buy this. Don't buy this card right now. This card, $75, went up to $127, now sitting at $117. So the number 2 chase card from Twilight Masquerade, over $100. Now, Twilight Masquerade hasn't had a massive print run. They haven't printed as much of this as some of the other sets. So there might be the argument, well, buddy, lower print runs, this card, might maintain its value. If there's enough demand there for Twilight Masquerade, they'll do a reprint. They'd be stupid not to. And either way, this card is going to get, open more and more and more as people open Twilight Masquerade. And this card price is going to drop. Don't buy this Carmine. I absolutely love this card. It's such a nice card. But I wouldn't be paying $117 for it. Not because I'm a tight ass, because I know this price is going to drop. I dare say if we look back in 4 or 5 months' time, this card will be well under 100, maybe even under 70. And I'll pick it up when it's a lot lower. So there's 10 examples of cards that are in the sweet spot that are probably a really good time to pick it up between now and the next month or 2. And there's 2 examples of brand new cards that have absolutely skyrocketed that you don't want to touch because you'll be paying way too much. Now, I know I said this is for collectors, not for investors, this video. And if you like a card, just buy it, etc., etc. But in saying that, you don't want to be stupid about it. If every time you liked the brand new card, you paid for that card as soon as it was released, the general rule of thumb is you're usually going to pay too much. So don't do it. Just wait. Just wait, guys. Don't FOMO invest. There's 2 cards, examples of not what to buy and when to not buy, rather, when a set's first released. Let me know if you own any of these cards, if you've pulled any of these cards, if you're looking at getting any of these graded, or picking any of these up for your set, for your collection. There's some really nice cards in that set. Give me your feedback, leave a comment. I always get back to you guys. Thanks for watching the chase card, and I will see you on the next video. Bye.